So in this video, I'm going to show you guys a brand new AI tool that I've been experimenting with. And this makes the job of scraping w- just about any website, even if it's client-side rendered, a lot easier, a lot faster, and most of all, you don't need to code. You don't even need to write it like a single line of code. All you need to do is prompt. Now, this is even a lot easier than anti-gravity that I showed you in a previous video, because with this, you just need to add it as a plugin to your Chrome. So this is mainly a Chrome extension, but this extension is also available for Firefox, and also there's an API associated with it, but you don't need to pay a dime. The initial credits that you get is more than generous to experiment with. And I guess this might change moving forward. But right now, this tool is absolutely free, and you can use this to start scraping websites and doing a whole lot of other stuff as well, which we'll discuss in the video. So let's get to it. So these are the list of leads we were able to scrape from Yelp. And as most people who are in the scraping industry know, scraping from Yelp is not easy. There is a lot of stuff involved. And if you want to use an API, it can get pretty expensive. For only one instance, I was able to find an email address, because most times finding an email address on Yelp is not available. So because there are no email addresses on Yelp unless someone chooses to add their email address. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Retriever, and this is the extension that we have installed. We go ahead and click this over here, move myself to the left. And what I'll do here is I'll click share, and and usually this is not required, but we're just going to ask it to copy a link. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask it to enrich the leads that we have in the sheets. So what this does, it will figure out what's going on the sheet. It will then create the code needed to enrich this sheet. And you don't need to buy an API to Hunter.io or Apollo or any of those systems, because this kind of goes out there, it goes to these websites, and it pulls their email address, because it thinks that that's the best place to pull the email address off, and most times that is. So as you can see, this is working right now, and it has started to pull some of the data, and you can see this data being, you can see the email addresses over here, extracted email addresses, clean website. It's doing it in real time, and you can see over here it's opening up these tabs for the websites. It's opening them up, it's closing those tabs, and it's enriching um, our websites. So we'll just fast forward through this, and you'll see this run. And then I'll show you another thing that I really love doing with this tool. All right, so I've gone ahead and canceled this. And the reason why I canceled it was just taking way too long. And I think we get the idea that it can fill out these forms. Now, it does run into issues. And as you'll see, in some cases, it's just pulled my email address, which I do not want it to do. And the reason for that is, there's an error with the way it's working. For some reason, it started to pull up my email address. So in some ways, even though this is very efficient, you might want to monitor this, because this also tried to open up my email and send emails. So I shut that down. And if you look at this over here, it's still very efficient, because it's taking these Yelp URLs, but the business is in them and the business name, and it's pulling up their email addresses. And from their websites, it's pulling up their email addresses. So it's going to their websites and it's pulling these email addresses. Some cases you'll see that this failed for some reason. So maybe there's no email address associated with it. So it thinks because it needs to add an email address, it will add my email address to it. So again, it's not perfect, but it works. So there's another neat thing that this tool does, um, that again, I wouldn't run this unmonitored. But if you see, I've stopped this. Now I have 206 tokens. So it tells me that this is how much I have left. If I click here, it will show me that I can buy more tokens if I need it. Okay. It will also show me over here, I teach it a trick. So I can teach the AI what I want it to do. Um, So in the past, just to scrape these, I just used one token, but to enrich these, I've used maybe around 30 tokens. So I had like 250 free credits, out of which now I have 206.24 remaining. And this kind of refreshes every month. So if you go to here, you get, this is the paid plan, you get 1,000 credits. So I think the free plan is more than enough. But let's do one more thing. And the interesting thing is that the data it does not have, it will find. It's interesting because it can be dangerous. It can pull data that's stuff that you don't want it to pull from your website cache, from your uh, browser cache, from your existing saved um, usernames. And so you always want to keep an eye on when you're running this, or you have a specific uh, command that you give it. It's not just what I'm doing here. It's not just a generalized command that I'm doing for demonstration purposes, but it's a very detailed prompt with do's and don'ts. So that is what you might want to be very careful with. Uh, so as you can see, it's on the Proton email address page, and it's going through the process. So it's click the free email. It's created a username. It's created a password. Uh, it's confirming the password. So I think this is interesting because it does this very well. And it says, I said, no, thanks, that we don't want this. And again, this is where I'm monitoring this. And this is the cool thing. It does the captcha. So it's asking, so Proton is asking for a captcha. It went ahead and did the captcha. So it's entered in my email address by default. I'll get a code on my email address. All right, go ahead and type in the code. So this is the code. And then let's see if it enters in the code itself. Let's go ahead and put in the code over here, hit verify. All right, it says email address already used. So let's see if it tries an alternative email address, because I ran this before I made this video, and it uses the same email address because this is my primary email address, and this is the email address for my Google Drive that I've given it access to. So this is the only address that it knows of that exists or is associated with my profile. So it cannot use another email address. So this stopped because it says that it used 15 credits. So it says credits used 15, email address already used. So it went ahead and filled out the form. It broke the captcha and it kind of created my email address. So if I had not already done this, this would have gone through. And what you can also do is when you create the prompt, you give it an email address that you want to use, and it will go ahead and create that. Now, there's another cool thing that I like about Retriever, that if you go to the Retriever site, you will see these free templates, okay? Now, these templates make this job a lot better. For instance, TikTok Brain Scan, your FYP knows you better than your therapist. So LinkedIn Job Hunter. So if I go ahead and click this template runs, and it has custom instructions like I was talking about. And so what I'm interested in is this one over here, because finding email addresses associated with LinkedIn profiles is expensive. So what I'll do here is I'll hit run just to show you guys how this works. Okay. So it's going to ask me for the LinkedIn profile. So we'll just do, okay. So we'll pick John Mueller, who is a senior SEO analyst at Google. And we will see if we're able to pull up his email address. So we'll copy his LinkedIn profile URL from here. We'll go ahead and paste it over here. Okay, we want this on. Everything else stays absolutely the same. And we have it in. So it says you need to sign into your extension. We'll go ahead, okay. We'll go ahead and launch agent. So the last attempt failed. So we're going to go ahead and try this again. LinkedIn detected, so it's logged into my LinkedIn profile. Please connect Google Drive to execute. We hit connect. So again, we're going to try and do this again because we've been running into issues. So when I first tried this, it worked, but okay. So now it's worked and asked it to extract John Miller's email address. That's going ahead and doing it for me. It's running over here. So we'll just give it a few seconds. Please sign into your LinkedIn account on this tab to view John Muir's full profile. Once you've signed in, please confirm here so we can proceed with the extraction. Yes. Okay, so it's opened up his email address. It's his profile over here on the cloud browser. And the great thing here is that you can add multiple URLs. So if you want to scrape multiple profiles, you can put in a URL, comma, next URL, comma, next URL, and it will go through and it will start scraping all URLs. Now, the problem with this right now is that this is buggy. So oftentimes when you try this, it will hang up. It will, when you log into your Google Drive, it will hang up, but then you need to refresh the browser and then it kind of works. So each time this thing hangs up, you need to refresh the browser and only then it will work again. If you close the window, you're pretty much starting from scratch. So I learned this the hard way. The other thing you need to keep in mind is that this is resource intensive. So if you have a system that has limited RAM or you have a lot of stuff open, because this opens multiple browser tabs, it's limited by the amount of RAM you have. And also it's running pretty hot on your processor. So if you're running other processes on your computer, you'll have a problem running this. Unless you run this in in the cloud on a VPS, you're gonna have issues with this. And so this is by no means perfect, but still, I mean, it's free. And I urge people to experiment with this, even though I'm not associated with this brand, this product, or anything. I'm not getting paid to say this. I saw another YouTuber talk about this very briefly, and I thought this sounded interesting, so I took a look at the plugin. So with all the hype surrounding Retriever, I just wanted to make this video just to show you guys that even though there's a lot of hype on YouTube about Retriever and it being perfect and running all of these things, it will fail and it does fail. And I've shown you in this video that this thing does fail. And when it fails, it also sucks up all of your credits. In my case, it sucked up like over 150 credits. And now I'm done with my free account until the 3rd of February. So I hopefully Retriever fixes these issues. And there's a way for paid users, not for free users, not necessarily, but for paid users to get their credits back if it has been sucked in like this by a process that failed at the end of the day and it didn't work. All right, so the execution completed, my credits were exhausted, and this took way more credits than it should have, but even then, this failed. So this workflow, despite using all of my credits, failed. So if you're going to pay for credits, you just want to make sure that this kind of thing will happen, and so the free account will give you the opportunity to kind of experiment with this. And in this case, you see, even though it failed, it used up all of my credits and it still didn't give me an email address. So this is one of the drawbacks of using these templates and these tools is they're still being tested and there's no way for me to get my credits back even if I had paid for it. So if you guys like the video, like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.